Welcome to 12-Minute Talks, where important information is shared in a short time period. Learn from other business owners, entrepreneurs, and experts about what they do to help you find solutions to everyday topics in 12 minutes or less. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 12-Minute Talks podcast. In today's episode, we have a different type of coach. I feel like we've had coaches for just about everything, but I've personally never heard of a divorce coach. But we have with us today Mardi Winder-Adams. She's a certified divorce transition coach for high achieving women, trying to make this stressful time less stressful, right? So, Marty, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, so I was very intrigued. I heard you talk uh, Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, I think it is. It was
Mhm.
like an all day podcast event. And I was like, wow, I've never heard of that. So I thought, let's have Marty on the show. And thank you so much for being here today. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about how you got started in this industry?
Well, it's a long, complicated process. So I'm going to give you the very short version. Started out working as a teacher, went into doing a lot of divorce and family mediation work, and then I discovered my love for coaching. So quit my corporate job and became a certified executive and leadership coach. Did a lot of work on emotional intelligence, workplace culture development, dealing with difficult employees, all of that kind of thing. And what I found out, interestingly enough, was a lot of the people that were hiring me as an executive and leadership coach were actually people dealing with divorce. And so, according to the stress inventory, divorce is the second most challenging thing that people will go through in their life. The first one being the death of a spouse. So when you think of it like death of a spouse is the big one and divorce is the next one on that list, it has a huge impact on people's lives. So I decided to kind of pivot from doing the executive and leadership coaching to working exclusively with women. Most of my clients are entrepreneurs, CEOs, upper management professionals who are finding themselves overwhelmed with divorce, being a single mom, trying to navigate, having no support in the home and running their own business or having their professional career. So that's why I got so passionate about it. Went through my own horrible divorce. Not going to tell the war story, but it was bad. And I understand how this can just completely change your life in
Yeah,
ways
I
you
was
never
I
imagined.
was about to say, like, a divorce coach that hasn't been through divorce could be, but yeah, I guess like they say, it's best to help others that you know what they're going through from personal experience, right? um but yeah, I think that that's interesting, from being a teacher to then helping executives in their business, to now helping more executives and CEOs with this transition. But you mentioned something interesting there about statistics, that the first biggest, I forgot what word you used, but you said number one was a spouse dying, and then number two, I think the most traumatic event, right? And then
Yeah,
number
most
two,
stressful life events. You're right.
stressful, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then number two is divorce. But if you really think about it, they're very similar, right? Because if a spouse passes away, maybe they were the ones that dealt with finances or insurance or whatever. And the same if you're getting divorced, it's almost like they're alive but no longer here, right? Have you
Yeah.
noticed something like that, or in
Yeah.
what you do?
And unfortunately, I can tell you I've experienced both of those things in my life. I divorced my first husband and my second husband passed away. And they are different kinds of grief, but they're the same. You're right. It's the same sense of I do now. Like all of this is now my responsibility. And what I really, whether you're dealing with the loss of a spouse or whether you're dealing with the loss of a marriage, there's still that. There's not just the grief you have to get through, but with divorce and death, you've got to deal with the legal system. You got to get probate lawyers, you got insurance people, you've got it's all the same stuff, except for with divorce now you're dealing with not only having to hire an attorney, but this person that you thought you were going to be going through the rest of your life with is now sometimes turned into somebody that you don't even recognize anymore. They're vindictive, they're malicious, they're coming after you, it seems like, all the time. And unfortunately, that's the way the legal system is set up. So it is adversarial. So my
Right.
goal is to help the people I work with try to break through that, find ways to create common ground, because people can go through a divorce and be co-parents and be still stay friends. I mean, it's not that uncommon. You just don't hear about it because all you hear about is the sensational, celebrity divorces and things like that. But there's lots of people that do divorce very well. But like I always say, all you can control is your behavior. If your partner is going to act a fool, then you're going to have to deal with those consequences. So,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely. So it's funny, there's a park bench here that has like a sign, divorce without war. And I'm assuming they're divorce lawyers, right, that help people with that. So you had mentioned while we were talking before starting that you offer like a guide or resources for people going through divorce. Can you talk a little bit more about that offering?
Sure. So one of the things that I think is important is that a lot of people haven't heard of a divorce coach before. So I offer a free, what I call a divorce strategy planning session. It's 30 minutes. It's not a sales call. I guarantee there is no sales involved. Where, if you're a woman that's struggling with divorce, and you can be a high achieving woman, maybe you don't have a career, maybe you're just looking at getting into a career through the divorce, or maybe you want to switch from corporate to becoming a business owner, or vice versa. Maybe you want to go from entrepreneur to working in the corporate side. Maybe you just want to go back to school or do something like that. Let's hop on a quick call. I tend to do them by Zoom, and we can focus on one area that you want to create a plan for, create a strategy, or just get some ideas and tips how to manage things better. So I do have that. And there's also on that same page, you can also grab a guide, 10 questions to ask before hiring a divorce attorney, because hiring the right divorce attorney will make your divorce go better.
I could imagine that's a big decision, right? And I think this is great because, like you mentioned, everybody's so stressed and there's so many decisions that need to make. And for somebody to be informed while they're interviewing maybe multiple divorce attorneys to know what to ask, I think is important. Do you refer people to divorce attorneys as well, or just the guide?
I don't personally refer an attorney because I think that's every woman and man should make their own decision who's the best professional. But what I do is help them create sort of an interview sheet, um, and have them go through, decide what questions they want to ask. And I recommend people talk to at least 3 attorneys before they make a decision. So
Okay,
we
that's
definitely do that. But the download they can grab are 10 kind of generic questions that you can use to get started with doing those kind of interviews.
perfect. So it's great that you provide these resources. And so, when should a woman reach out to you? Is it when they're thinking about getting a divorce, or when they're already in the process of it?
Ideally, well, anytime is appropriate. The people that tend to be able to, my goal is to help you save money during your divorce, but also help you deal with the stress and the challenges and the conflict and the issues. But to save the most money, really, the first step is to make sure you're hiring the right attorney, because changing attorneys in a divorce is a very costly procedure. So the earlier you start working with somebody to help you, the more effective it's going to be at helping you make the best decisions in your best interest. I sometimes get people that are months into the divorce. I've even got people, believe it or not, that are 3 and 4 years into their divorce, hundreds of $1,000s of legal fees already spent. But hey, if you'd have come to us earlier, it probably would have been even better.
I think so. I think so. Well, this has been great information, Marty. I've been enlightened by everything here, and it's good to have a resource to refer people as well in case they're going through that, make it less stressful. Do you work just in Texas or in the entire United States?
I actually have clients. I'm actually Canadian. I live in Texas, but I'm Canadian. So I have clients in Canada, the United States. I have some clients in Europe and the United Kingdom as well. So I can work pretty well anywhere because I don't provide legal advice. I help guide you through the steps you need to take, and they're universal steps. So I can
Fan-
work with people all over.
Fantastic. And so, Marty, how can somebody reach out to you if they would like more information?
Probably the best place is just to go straight to the website, which you have the information, but it's www.divorcecoach4, and that's the number 4 women.com. And you can grab the free download, the guide to hiring an attorney. And then there's also a place where you can book that free divorce strategy planning session.
Awesome. And like always, I will have all of the links down below. So anybody listening or watching the podcast can reach out to our guest today. And I just wanted to quickly introduce myself for those of you that don't know who I am. My name's Lorena Tomasini, and I'm the owner of Mom Life and Health Insurance Agency, where together with my mom, we help other families and businesses with their financial protection needs. And so, Marty, I'm going to leave you here with one last question. What would you say is a good book for an executive woman to read while she's going through this transition?
There is an excellent book called The Common Sense Divorce. It's by Dina Nielsen, and she is an ex-family attorney, and she just gives a really clear picture of what you need to do to manage the legal side of your divorce. I think it's a great resource.
Okay, great. And I will put the link for that book as well so anybody can access that. Well, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, just that thank you, and what you do in providing the insurance and everything for people is super helpful at this point in time. And you're definitely a person I encourage people to have on their divorce team, at least to consult with.
Yeah, definitely, because people don't realize you might not keep your health insurance or your life insurance through your spouse, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate that. Okay, Marty, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this podcast and hope you will listen to the next one. I'm Lorena Tomasini, and you can contact me via email life@malmins.com. Make it a great day.